Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be doing an interesting comparison between the Ram TRX and the Ford Raptor R. So the Ford Raptor R hasn't been officially released, but I'm going to use everything that we know so far on the Ford Raptor R and a little bit of speculation for this comparison. But before we get into the video, I do want to mention that my car buying guide is available for purchase now. So if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to that in the description down below. Let's get into the comparison. Starting under the hood of the TRX, we have a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 702 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 10 around town and then 14 on the highway. Realistically, you'll get like 8 to 9. If you're really light in the throttle, you'll get like 11 miles per gallon. But notice some of the bracing under the hood, and then you've got the active air there at the top, and then notice how the engine's very far down in the engine bay, and you can see the supercharger. That's for weight distribution purposes, why they have it so far down and so far back. So it's not displayed cool, but anyways, popping over to the Raptor, I want to talk about the transmission first. That's why I'm showing the under the hood of an EcoBoost Raptor. So we've got the 10-speed automatic, and it is a huge improvement over the Gen 2 with the new 10-speed. Basically, they've tuned the transmission, so it's super quick to shift, quicker than what you have with the Gen 2, but also it's very smooth. You can shift into first gear while moving in a Gen 3 Raptor, and it doesn't shake or anything, and no matter whether you're upshifting or downshifting, it's super smooth. So expect the Raptor R to have a similar transmission tune and to keep the 10-speed automatic. I don't think they're going to do the dual clutch that's in the GT500 because that just doesn't really make sense for a pickup truck. Now, in terms of the engine, GT500 engine is going to be at the hood, so it's a supercharged 5.2 liter V8 and puts out 760 horsepower, 625 pound-feet of torque. So expect power figures to be that, potentially less, because you do have to detune engines for trucks typically. But yeah, expect power outputs to be that in this powertrain. It is hand-built, and I want to talk about that later in today's video, why that is going to affect the Raptor R quite a bit. But yeah, that's the powertrain. Now, going over the front end of the TRX, you can see it's pretty crazy with the hood scoop there in the center. You guys can see the marker lights there in the center as well. And then notice we've got the TRX decal there on the top. That's an option you can add with the truck. Now, the venting that you see here on the sides is actually fake venting. It's for aesthetic purposes. No, it says 6.2L supercharged. And then coming down below, you've got the lights from the Ram Limited. Notice you got the venting there off to the side of the light. That's definitely a cool aesthetic touch. Fog lights down below, and then you can see parking sensors along the front end. Notice the Ram logo is hollowed out so that you can get more airflow to feed that supercharged 6.2 liter V8. You've got the aggressive skid plate popping out there with the tow hooks on either side. Definitely has that aggressive off-roader appearance from a front end perspective, which you guys know I'm a huge fan of. But yeah, pretty crazy with the TRX. Now, popping over to the Raptor, the changes I want to mention for the regular Raptor compared to the Raptor R. So to feed that supercharged 5.2 liter V8, you're probably going to see some more venting on the hood than what you have with the regular Gen 3 you guys can see here in the video. And then on top of that, lights are probably going to be the same with the LED marker lights, all that kind of stuff. But the Ford logo is probably going to be hollowed out or something. Again, more airflow to feed the engine. So expect there to be some changes with the grille, potentially more hood venting as well with the truck, but expect like the bottom portion of the bumper and all that to be pretty similar, aggressive skid plate popping out, fog lights, all that kind of stuff. I expect that to pretty much stay the same for the Raptor R, and so it'll just look super similar to the EcoBoost Raptor, but just a little bit more aggressive from a front end aesthetic perspective, which I think is just going to look absolutely killer because I frankly love the front end of the new Gen 3 Raptor. Now, popping back over to the TRX, you guys can see we've got 18-inch wheels, 35s wrapped around those. This has the beadlock capable wheels, which the regular wheels that come with the TRX are not. I think both options look fantastic. You guys know I prefer the beadlock capable because I'm an off-road enthusiast. And then you can see also just how aggressive those 35s are. Notice here with the front suspension. Now with the TRX, and I'll show you guys the shocks a little bit later, you've got the active shocks from Bilstein. They're the Blackhawk shocks. Amazing system. They have so much absorption and heat soak to them. Pretty crazy system. You guys can see the venting there off to the side. And then this one has the regular mirrors. And notice here on the back, you can see the shocks a little bit better. But yeah, one of the most advanced shock systems ever made. And I mean, the fact that these shocks can handle a truck that has a curb weight of over 6,000 pounds with fuel and everything, it's like over 7,000 pounds, is just ridiculous. So yeah, awesome active system. And that's one of the key features of the TRX. And you can see that with the tires, with the shocks, the suspension definitely gives it a crazy stance. And also the TRX has coil suspension. Anyways, with the Raptor, I picked this one because this has the 37 package. You better believe that Ford's going to make sure they can fit 37s on the Raptor R. This also has the beadlock capable wheels. So that's going to be another thing with the Raptor R, is it's going to have 37s, whereas the TRX has 35s only. Now, you guys remember Ford just released the new Bronco Raptor, and that has 37s as standard. I think they're going to do the same thing with the Raptor R, where they're just going to make 37s standard, so they don't have to do any changes with the suspension or the wheel wells or anything like that, like they kind of had to do with the regular Raptor. And so, yeah, kind of have that expectation coming out of the gate. Notice the venting there. You might see more aggressive venting on the Raptor R. Still off-road side steps, all that kind of stuff. And expect the fender flares and everything. Maybe they'll be a little bit more pronounced, but I would think they're probably pretty similar to a regular Raptor. They're not really going to make it a whole lot wider than it already is. And then in terms of the shocks, they're going to have to build a system that's a little bit beefier than what the Raptor has. Still expect 5-link coil suspension though, and they'll still use Fox shocks, but just more beefed up to handle the extra weight. And, you know, they'll have to beef up the front suspension, especially to handle that extra weight. There's a key fob with the TRX. You've got the unlock, the lock, remote start. You've got the tailgate drop down as well. And you guys know the TRX sounds amazing with that Hellcat engine. And then this one does have the spare tire carrier here in the back. And I don't know if Ford's going to add that to the Raptor R, to be completely honest. Right now, the regular Raptor only has a spare tire underneath. As you guys can see with this particular truck, hasn't been moved to the tire carrier there in the back. And so, yeah, I really don't know if they're going to do that. Notice you got the ram bar there at the top again. I don't know if Ford's going to offer something like that. There's a lot of aftermarket companies that do it, and so I don't think Ford really has too much interest in offering that from the factory. Notice you got the sliders there for the cargo tie-downs, spray and bed liner, LED bed lights, you know, a bunch of luxury truck things. You do have to pick up the tailgate yourself, though, which, so difficult. Just kidding. Notice you've got the full LED lights here with the blacked out portion there in the center, and it kind of gives it a sportier look. And then you guys can see here with the TRX logo there down below, and then all the other logos are also all blacked out to give it a sporty, aggressive appearance. Same thing with the bumper, the tow hooks, the exhaust tips, everything is all blacked out. Receiver hitches are always blacked out, so it's kind of part of that. Parking sensors there at the bottom of the bumper. But notice that this isn't a true like off-road bumper. Like it's, you know, made out of hardcore materials, right? But it's not necessarily like sculpted for the best departure angle, if that makes sense. Taking a look here at the Raptor key fob, you can see functionality is the same. So tailgate drop and remote start, lock and unlock, all that fun stuff. Now this particular Raptor doesn't have a bed liner. I think they're going to do the same thing with the Raptor R, where they're not going to make everything as standard on it. That's kind of just what Ford does. So don't expect like bed liner and LED lights and all that kind of stuff to be standard. It'll probably just be options you can add on the truck if you want it. And if you don't want it, Ford's not going to make you pay for it. You got the little hookups for the cargo tie downs as well at the Raptor. Still have Ford's tailgate step system. That's just kind of like an F-150 thing. And of course, it'll have the automatic raising tailgate. I do think that the Raptor R is going to come fully loaded as the standard package for the truck. And so you'll have features like that that'll be just part of the Raptor R package, because that'll just be standard across the board. But I don't know. I think they're still going to do some options, but I think some, you know, a lot of stuff's going to be standard. I guess the point I'm trying to make. Anyways, got the giant Ford logo there on the back with the Raptor logo, and then again 37. And I'm sure they'll advertise on the Raptor R 37s as well with little sticker, decal, all that kind of stuff that you can add to it. Now, with the exhaust tips, I think they're going to be quite a bit larger because, again, V8 versus this is, again, the EcoBoost. And they've already figured out how to fit a spare 37 underneath with the regular Raptor, so Raptor R, they'll be able to do the same thing. But yeah, I think the exhaust tips are going to be larger, more aggressive, again, to kind of go with the V8 theme of the Raptor R. Now, popping back over here to the TRX, what you guys are going to notice here with the interior is it definitely has a luxury theme. So you got tons of leather, you've got the red stitching, and notice you got Alcantara, carbon fiber, and they basically taken the interior from the Ram Limited and then added some sporty materials like the Alcantara and the carbon fiber, and so it definitely has a luxury theme to it. Same thing here with the seats, again, full leather. Notice you've got the contrasted stitching, and then you can see the leather in the center. You've got the red leather. You've got the Alcantara. The seats look fantastic. Got the ice buckets. Raptor's not going to have those. Guess that's a deal breaker. Just kidding. Rubber floor mats, and notice the under seat storage. And in terms of like the actual cab itself, you guys will see me kind of pop in here. They're both super spacious. So headroom great, legroom great with the Ram cab, and you can get reclining seats with the Ram, which is definitely cool. Ford still doesn't offer that, which is kind of strange to me. But notice all the storage space there on the seat itself. And notice even the back of the seat is really nice from a material standpoint. Carbon fiber there, heated cooled seats in the rear. I wouldn't expect that in the Raptor because they don't offer heated and cooled seats well, they offer heated seats, but not cooled seats, sorry, in any Fords. Notice even like the center console, like everything's really nice from a material standpoint. So again, it's got that sporty luxury theme to it with the Ram. Now popping here to the Ford, you guys can see here from the door panel, they kind of go for like just the sporty theme, not the luxury theme from a material standpoint. You got some carbon fiber, but notice that this basically is like a spruced up Lariat interior. So again, with the seats, this one has the blue seat package, but notice you got like the leather that the Lariat has basically, and then you've got the Alcantara inserts with it. And notice legroom and everything is the same. And you guys can see here with the cup holders, and then notice there with the heated seats and all that. Again, no air conditioning seats. I don't think the Raptor R is going to change that because an F-150 Limited doesn't have heated seats. This one has the code orange stitching. I think code orange will be big for the Raptor R too. They'll have that throughout the interior because they did that on the Bronco Raptor. So it's kind of just like a Raptor thing. Now, popping here to the front door panel of the TRX. Again, notice that luxury theme continues here. You've got the carbon fiber, and then you got all the Alcantara all down below with the leather and the stitching. And then notice the red for the speakers, which definitely is a cool aesthetic. You got that for the memory seats, and then all the window controls with the power folding mirror function. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring with them. You can get the trailer mirrors too on the TRX if you guys are wondering, and those do power folding as well. And then here at the front seats, so notice again with the full leather, the stitching, TRX logo embroidered there, perforated leather in the center. Again, they just have that really cool sporty appearance to them with the Alcantara and the leather. And then you've got the adjustments on the side of the seat. If you get a 22 TRX rather, you get the nicer pedals than what this has. Pedal adjustment, light controls, steering wheel's manually adjustable. You guys can see the paddle shifters there with the radio controls. Kind of a funny look, not as cool as what you have on the Raptor from a paddle perspective, I will say that. Now, this is where the video gets pretty interesting. So, first off, we're going to start things off with the front door panel of a 37 package Raptor. So again, you guys can see with the blue contrasting the orange and the black and the carbon fiber and all that. Notice you have 3 settings for the memory seats right there, which is definitely a nice little feature. Still got blind spot monitoring in the mirrors power fold in, and then you got the Bang & Olufsen sound system. Still, it'll say Ford Performance down there, I'm sure. Speaker in the headrest. So all these like luxury features you're seeing, I'm sure will be available in the Raptor R as well. But you can see from the seat perspective, really aggressive with the bolstering, pretty normal pedals, got the pedal adjustment, and then you can see there with the light controls and mirror lights. Steering wheel, however, notice is power adjustable, so Ford's got that going for it. Carbon fiber, and you can see the American flag there. Might be in a different color with the Raptor R, but they'll still have that feature. Now, I'm showing you guys a platinum interior because they might do this for the Raptor R because it's going to be a more expensive version of the Raptor where they do like the nicer leather, and then you can see the Alcantara here on the platinum, and then instead of wood trim there, carbon fiber instead. I think there is definitely a chance that Ford could go that route. So that's why I'm showing you guys the platinum. And same thing with the seats. They could do the nicer leather that you have with the platinum seats. I think that's also a possibility. So you can kind of imagine that with the Alcantara mixed with it. And then also here, glove box again, imagine carbon fiber and then the nicer leather on the dash. And then I threw in the limited door panel as well, because again, they could do some sort of setup like this with the Raptor R again to make it more spruced up. And then this also shows you kind of what that leather looks like with carbon fiber there. You can see on the door panel. So that's another route they could go, I think. And then notice with the 3 functions for the memory seats still. And wait for it. Now you can see the front seats. So yeah, I don't know if they'll do like the luxury quilted design, but again, they could do the leather this nice from a material standpoint for the Raptor. I definitely see that as a possibility. Now, anyways, you guys can see with the TRX startup and everything, got the cool animation that says TRX with the dust going through. Notice here with the steering wheel, it's pretty cool from a material standpoint. So you got Alcantara there at the top and at the bottom, and then leather there on the sides. I can say with my truck, it's got like over 12,000 miles. Steering wheel has worn very nicely so far. Still feels great. Notice you've got your cruise control, adaptive cruise control as well. You've got the voice command, phone controls all for the center stack, and then you got the funny looking paddle shifters, which, function great. They just are kind of interesting in terms of the appearance. And then you got your turn signal, windshield wiper stock, all that normal stuff. And yeah, there you go. Now popping into the gauge cluster, you've got half analog, half screen with the TRX. And that's kind of like a distinct thing with the Rams. Notice you got the TRX logo there on the center. And then you can go through different bits of info like off-road status with the TRX. Notice the fuel range. If you're wondering, the TRX is a 33-gallon fuel tank. So yeah, you're not going to get the best fuel range for a pickup truck when you're probably going to, maybe get 10 miles per gallon. So yeah, expect your fuel range to actually realistically be 300 to 330 miles per tank roughly. Again, depending on what your exact fuel economy ends up being with the truck. But yeah, a ton of different menus you can scroll through. Now this is the display for the 21 TRX. There's a slightly different display for the 2022 Rams, and the TRX got that update. The 21 people seem to like a little bit more because you've got the drive mode select. You guys can see here front and center that you can go through in the infotainment system. Notice 4 auxiliary switches, parking sensors, front and rear trailer brake controls as well. But yeah, you can change the drive modes in the infotainment system, whereas with the 22s, you can only change it with the button off to the side that you guys will see a little bit later in the video, which, yeah, a lot of people have actually had complaints about. But as you can see from a drive mode perspective, you have a bunch of different drive modes. The main ones are auto, right? That's going to be your daily driver mode, sport, which is going to be your fun on-road driving mode, and then you've got Baja, which is your off-road mode. There's a couple different modes like tow mode, for example, and snow mode and all that kind of stuff. But like realistically, like the only 3 drive modes I've used is, again, Baja, Sport, and Auto. And I can say, kind of like a little TRX owner tip, go into Sport mode, hold the traction control button for like 10 seconds, turns everything off, and the truck is a handful, but it's a very fun handful. But notice you got the performance page as well that'll show real-time horsepower and torque. And also 360 camera system. This hasn't changed for 2022. Again, the display looks a little bit different, but the camera system's still the same with the resolution and how it's like just part of the screen with the camera system, which, some people think is a little bit of a letdown with the truck that they don't use like the whole 12-inch display. Anyways, you guys can see with the drive mode select that I was talking about, that's all you can use on the 2022s, which is kind of frustrating to change the different drive modes, but, it is what it is. I guess that they assumed that people weren't using the infotainment system, even though like that's the only way I had changed the drive modes. Like I said, I've never used the snow mode. Even when I'm driving the snow, I just have used auto, or if I'm off-road and it's snowing, Baja, right? So it's kind of, I don't know, kind of interesting, but there's different animations for the drive modes. Notice the truck is 4-wheel drive all the time. So 4-wheel auto, 4-wheel high, 4-wheel low. You got the axle lock, and then launch control is a cool thing about the TRX. It also has the off-road cruise control and then the stability control as well. But yeah, no 2-wheel drive. So that's part of the reason why the truck doesn't get the best fuel economy. And then notice here with the materials on the center console, so you got your little TRX plaque, which is really cool. But materials is fantastic. You've got the Alcantara there on the center, and you've got the leather on either side with the stitching, which looks great. And overall, I think it's just fantastic, and I think Ram nailed it from a material standpoint with that. And then you've got the console that's fixed, because you can see that you've got the shifter in it now, and so they can't have it move with the shifter. So a little bit less storage space than a regular Ram 1500. But, having that shifter I think is definitely worth it. Definitely kind of adds to the experience. And notice you've got the phone holder. It does have wireless phone charger, all that normal practical stuff. Carbon fiber there with the center console lid. Notice you can see that opening up. And yeah, I think that Rams nailed it from a design standpoint with how it looks. And then also, the overall functionality is pretty good, even though it's fixed compared to other Rams that have the dial shifter. Dual glove box. And then just notice the material use around the glove box. So on the glove box, right? The glove box is carbon fiber. You got leather all over the dash. And then popping here to the top, we've got a panoramic sunroof, which you can get as an option on the TRX. And you see all the controls there for the sunroof itself, light controls at either side. And then this one has the camera mirror, which is another nice luxury feature. This TRX is, as you guys will see with the window sticker in a second, it's fully loaded. So yeah, definitely kind of ton of cool like tech features, luxury features, and again, the TRX again gives you that luxury experience. But notice again, this is a 21 TRX. This is the base price. The base price has gone up a little bit for the 22s, and when they do the 23s, I'm sure the base price will be up even a little bit more. But yeah, this truck pretty much has every single option added to it, including the graphics and everything. I don't really think there's an option that you can add that this truck doesn't have. So you can see the total price there, $95,000 for the sticker price, which, I mean, all things considered, especially in today's market, it's actually a great deal. I know it sounds crazy, $95,000, but for getting an off-road pickup truck that has over 700 horsepower, it's, yeah, I don't know. Definitely good. I love how the fuel costs, like you'll spend almost $13,000 more than the average car in fuel because you decided to buy a Ram TRX. Now, popping back over to the Raptor, you guys will notice the animation there as you got the startup. So I imagine the steering wheel is going to be pretty similar on the Raptor R. They might add carbon fiber to the top and to the bottom on the Raptor R to kind of give it a sportier theme, but still have a marker at the top of the carbon fiber, but I think they could do that. Now, controls on the steering wheel are going to stay the same, so you're still going to have the steering mode, the suspension, the exhaust, because the Shelby GT500 has a different exhaust setting, so they'll keep that the same with the Raptor R with all those customizations. There's no point in changing that. That's just kind of a Raptor thing at this point, and I'm sure that they'll name them modes the same thing, right? You'll have the normal, the sport, and the Baja with the exhaust, for example. And then you'll have the R mode, which will be on the R, which I think is funny that you have the R mode on the regular Raptors. And I think this might be like a hint that Ford's putting out for the 22 saying, hey, there's going to be a Raptor R soon because they put an R mode with the regular Raptors. But basically, it's like a custom mode. You click it, and then it instantly pops the Raptor into whatever you have the R mode set at. So you don't have to customize everything every time you get in the truck, which is definitely nice. Paddle shifters, they might do the GT500 paddle shifters, but I think they'll probably skip the regular Raptor paddle shifters because they're nice. It'll still have the fully digital gauge cluster. Again, it's probably going to be a fully loaded truck as standard, and so it's going to have the nice digital gauge cluster. And then again, from a drive mode perspective, I would expect it to be the same as what you see with the regular Raptor here with all of the different drive modes. And again, the main ones you're going to be focusing on is sport, normal, and then your Baja mode, right? Normal for normal driving, sport for sporty driving, and then Baja for off-road. And then these features here at the top, again, I expect that to be similar. So stability control, the parking assistance, off-road cruise control, all that kind of stuff. I don't expect that to go away. 12-inch display, again, I'm sure will be standard with the truck because it'll just be fully loaded. And then notice with the 360 camera system with the Raptor, it fills up pretty much the whole screen. And so even though the cameras have very similar, resolution quality, the Ford camera just seems better because it's bigger, right? Because it fills up more of the screen, so you feel like you're able to just see more. So that's definitely a big benefit. And just like the Ram screen, it's got the split screen function, which is definitely a awesome thing to have. So you can see the little screens you can go there off to the side. And you guys know I'm a huge fan of Ford's new infotainment system. I feel like it's easy to use. Trail turn assist, that'll also be on the Raptor, I'm sure. And then Pro Trailer Assist, trailer brake controls. Now, will the truck be two-wheel drive? I'm not so sure about this. It'll have the axle locker there for sure. And while I go over these controls, I just want to say I don't know. Because Ram pretty much made the TRX four-wheel drive out of necessity, and so I think that Ford might end up having to do the same thing. We'll see. It'd be cool if they made it so it was two-wheel drive like the regular Raptor, but yeah, I just don't know with that much power if that's feasible. But notice here with the shifter, it's got the fold-down shifter, which is cool. Again, with the Raptor R, I think that it's going to be like the actual plastic part of the shifter. You guys can see there will probably be carbon fiber. You'll probably see more carbon fiber throughout the truck than what you see here in the regular Raptor. And then you got the Raptor logo there at the top, Alcantara, all that kind of stuff. I don't expect that to change too much from an aesthetic perspective. Cup holders. But again, you just might see more, like with a lot of this trim that's plastic in the Raptor, you might just see carbon fiber trim instead of plastic with the Raptor R. I think that might be the big distinction. Hopping here into the glove box, we got a dual glove box just like the TRX, so it's just as practical. Carbon fiber there on the outside of the glove box. And then, like I said, with the dash, it might be nicer from a material standpoint, like the Limited or the Platinum. And then 6 auxiliary switches. The TRX only has 4, so that's definitely a big plus. And then you guys can see the power sliding window, and then notice panoramic sunroof. I think that'll be optional. I don't think they'll make that standard. Usually sunroofs are not standard with Fords. Now, pricing. Here's what I want to talk about, because I've seen so many people think that the Raptor R is going to be like $70,000 or $80,000. I don't know what you're on, but I want some of it. Just kidding. Okay, fully loaded with 37s, as you guys will see, this Raptor sticker's for like $82,000, okay, with the EcoBoost. And the TRX sticker's for $95,000 fully loaded. Now, the base price of a Raptor is like only $5,000 less than the base price of a TRX. And with the low availability with the Raptor R, I think the Raptor R is going to start at over $100,000. Like, let's be realistic. It's going to be a fully loaded truck. That's going to be standard. It's going to have a crazy engine, and Ford knows that they're going to be able to get tons of money for it. And so I would expect it to start at over $100,000. Fully loaded is probably going to be like $120,000, maybe even $130,000. Now, to cap things off with this comparison, obviously the Ram TRX is crazy with the Bilstein shocks and with the Hellcat engine, and it's the first, supercharged V8 Baja truck on the market, so the TRX will always be the first. But Ford has been spending so much time with tuning this Raptor R, fine-tuning it right to make it so that it is a crazy competitor against the TRX. And so what I suspect is that they're going to make sure that the Raptor R beats the TRX on every single statistic. It's going to have a faster 0 to 60. It's going to have more travel. It's going to have more ground clearance. It's going to, just do everything slightly better than the TRX. I don't think it's going to completely blow the TRX out of the water. I think it's just going to be slightly better in every single aspect. And the last thing I want to mention that I was talking about earlier in the video with the hand-built engine that the GT500 has that the Raptor R is most likely going to have, that's a hand-built engine. So they can't mass produce that. A lot of people think that the Raptor R is going to be able to be mass produced, that everyone's going to buy it like they can buy the TRX. I don't think that is a reasonable assumption at this point. I think between the fact that Ford already has a Raptor they can sell that they're making tons of money off of, the EcoBoost Raptor, right? They don't really have an incentive to sell a ton of Raptor Rs. It's going to be a specialty vehicle. It's going to be very low in volume. It's going to have a hand-built engine. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a crazy truck. It'll probably be the Baja truck to buy, but it's going to be extremely difficult to get. So at the end of the day, the TRX is going to be the everyman's supercharged V8 Baja truck, and the Raptor R is going to be the rich man's super exclusive Baja truck. Still awesome in its own right.